Hi, my name is Madison Henken, and I think that I hold 7 out of the 10 dispositions for professional educators. Now I'm talking about the dispositions that I feel that I hold as an educator. The first one is respect for diversity of others. I think that this is something that naturally I tend to do. A big rule that I like to follow is just because somebody's different doesn't mean that they are bad or wrong. And so I think that this is something that I do a really great job at in respecting the differences in and amongst people. The second one is professional conduct. I think it's very important to present yourself in a really professional manner, especially as an educator. If you want to be a mentor and to make a difference, you have to have respect. And in order to gain respect, you need to present yourself in a professional way. The third one is reflection. This is something that I tend to do naturally. I tend to look back at what I've done and identify the good things, the bad things, and changes that I need to make for the future. The next one is curiosity. I am a big fan of asking questions, and that's definitely something that I want to promote in my classroom. Even if I don't necessarily know the answer, I want my students to feel comfortable to be able to be curious and ask lots of questions and kind of explore around to try to find the answer. I think that one also kind of leads into the next one of honesty. Even if I don't know the answer, I think it's very important to make sure that my students will know that I'm being honest with them 100% of the time, because I think that that's only going to gain me respect. Another one is compassion. I think that it's really important to make sure that I meet people where they're at. And I have found that to be pretty true in my life thus far. And I think it's especially true for students with math. It's not always a favorite subject. A lot of kids really struggle with it. And so sometimes you really have to meet them where they are and love them where they're at, even if they aren't meeting your expectations or aren't necessarily passing the tests. And then the last one is dedication. I think being part of this program is a little bit of proof that I am dedicated to being a lifelong learner. But if I want to stay on top and relevant through my hopefully 20, 30 some years of teaching, then that means that I myself need to be dedicated to learning and continually figuring out new things and staying relevant. Some of the dispositions that it's not that I don't necessarily hold them, I just don't think that I fully understand how they're going to play out later this month when I start my first year of teaching. That first one is high expectations. I tend to have really high expectations, not only for myself, but the people around me. And so I'm a little bit worried that my expectations might be too high, simply because my recollection of high schoolers is from when I was in high school, since I don't have an education background. The next one is fairness. I'm kind of going along with that. I have these really high expectations, but how do I make sure that my tests and my expectations are fair for all people, especially my students? And then the last one is advocacy. I just recently moved out here onto the farm. I am not from a community like this. I'm originally from the Seattle area, so moving to rural Idaho is a lot different. So I'm still trying to learn, what is it going to mean to advocate for my students in this community, as well as advocating for myself. I'm still kind of getting entrenched here. I'm still learning the lay of the land. So how am I supposed to advocate if I don't entirely know what's going on? I think at the end of the day, all 10 of these are very important for educators because it helps guide you and hold you accountable. But I think ultimately, if you follow that golden rule of, treating yourself with respect and honesty, and then treating those around you, so your coworkers and your students, with respect and honesty, the others will kind of fall into place. So I think that, my hope is by the end of my first year, so hopefully this time next year, I'll be able to confidently say that I hold all 10 of these dispositions, and that I am making a difference, a positive difference in my community.